Alright, so one right to liberation. Who do I want to face off against next, and why is it the Pyre Hearts? You really do have to... Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I was thinking of like a priority system and stuff like that, and while the game does give you a certain amount of freedom of who you get to face off against and who you don't get to face off against in each liberation right, you pretty much end up facing off against every single one of them, minus, like, one, if I am to believe that I will get one more proper round before the inevitable Oralek interruption certainly occurs. So, like, right now I get one liberation right, I get one right before the next liberation. I can go against the Accusers of the Pyre Hearts, and then that's it. I mean, I could go against other people, but my point is that everything, since people were set down to 0 once you face off against them, they basically don't matter anymore as far as the ending goes. You can face off against them for story reasons, just to interact with them. But, like, I don't know if it's even physically possible to make one of them show up twice. So, given the number of liberation rights, the number of teams in the game, and so on, and the number of people in your party, it basically means you're going to have one liberation right against every single team sooner or later, like maybe -1 or 2. I say -1 under the assumption we'll get one more proper liberation right, and -2 if Oralek ends up blocking the next thing from happening, because that's what I keep anticipating occurs. And I don't know for sure if it will or not. It'd be an interesting experiment if somebody had a ton of time to be like, okay, Tempers is the first people you face off against. Let's find Tempers every single time we ever can, and lose against them on purpose, and see if we can get them to face off again. Like, that's what I'm curious about. Is it even mathematically possible to make somebody reset down to the bottom, go back to the top? Because if it's not, then it essentially means, yeah, you will face off against all of them at some point. So on some level, it actually kind of... My original goal of making the Essence and the Withdrawn not have liberation rights at all was a little pointless, in that it's really difficult to, maybe impossible to really control who gets a liberation right or not, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them. Either way, Accusers and Pyre Hearts don't have particularly huge feelings about either of them, but I am most spiteful towards the Pyre Hearts out of those two. So if I wanted to smite one, it would probably be them. Let's review our options. Character I don't care about, Pyre Hearts. Other character. Okay. I feel like when I beat things, they only move by like 3 points, right? Not like 5. So I feel like even if I beat the Pyre Hearts, they're not going to move forward. So the best move is probably just to face off against the Pyre Hearts first as practice for fighting them in the real round. That's probably the right call. So let's do that. Once more you are to face the Pyre Hearts, then... Although I wonder... He hesitates before saying anything further. You cannot sense his thoughts. I apologize. I was lost in thought there for a moment. Let us make way for the Ridge of Goal, when everyone is feeling more refreshed as much as possible. Talking. Also that. On Legacy. From Trieste to Tithus. Reader? Though you shall always bear a burden, it is much lighter than the burden of a lonesome exile. Go forth and become free. Then join with others such as you and lead with mercy, continuing to demonstrate your worth. And knowing the Empire's fall formed the foundation of the Commonwealth. You shall cease to be a reader and become a voice, both to the free and to your successors here. The cycle of the Rite shall see to it that you and the others like you shall be liberated ere the coming of the Nether Age. May the stars shine ever brightly on us all. Since Bertrude's liberation, Pamitha has been rather more subdued than usual, and you find her there perched quietly and still. How strange that I should care about some ugly crone, no, reader darling? Or perhaps I'm simply jealous of her, right? Something in her voice suggests that you ought listen rather than respond. Such horrid words I use. If only she could hear the venom that I spew, why... She would bottle it up, for sure, and put a pox on me besides. You see, it's just... I've I'm accustomed to dealing with creatures so much more duplicitous than she. No offense intended, present company excluded, and so on. I'd fought against her kind once in a while. There upon your blood border, the Commonwealth would trot them out, perhaps when you were feeling bold or desperate too. I took them all for monsters, nothing more. We of the High-Wing Remnants, we knew that we were righteous, soaring high above those oversized maggots, hurling ancient curses at us, sometimes fire. But Bertrude and I, why, we got on just fine. She seemed to see right through me, and she didn't seem to care. She just took me for who I am. Imagine that, right? Perhaps that when one gets to be her age, one finally achieves some sense of perspective then, some genuine enlightenment. She smirks at herself. Anyway, I hope that she appreciates the change of scenery, though I don't think good Bertrude cared very much to leave this place, if I'm going to be quite honest. And yet, the dear old girl seems smitten enough with that Volfred that she'll jump, and rather splendidly, whenever he says jump. Would that my heart still yearned for anything when I'm her age. I suppose I'm just a little shaken that she's gone, but thinking of the terror that she'll likely cause back in the Commonwealth of yours. She laughs to herself, perhaps to you. Thanks for getting her out, darling. So, then, what say we get some rest, huh? We'll surely need it, now that you don't have Trudy to rely on. That's a nickname I've never seen before. Race your reader. Race at relaxation. She swoops off, laughing over her shoulder. The friendship between Pamela and Bertrude passed unnoticed by most all your companions. Perhaps this is why Pamela valued it to the extent she evidently did. For now, you have every confidence that Bertrude will prove essential to achieving Volfred's plan. There, on the other side. Hope so. I mean, we're at a good percentage, that's for sure. I'm much more confident now, being in 80 range. It is daybreak. You are set forth now for the Ridge of Goal, for what appears to be the final time. Thereafter you shall return here for one last exile's final chance at liberty. Well, we're not leaving... Oh, set forth for Ridge of Goal. Whoops. I thought they're saying we're leaving for the last time. I'm like, well, we're gonna leave after the last one goes, because we're presumably not gonna just die on this hill. Hopefully. Showing. Alright, who's left? Higher Hots. Yeoman's gone free. Which. Oop. Oh, hi. Combo. That's satisfying. Take that, Withdrawn. I view Withdrawn. Wow, no one has anything to say anymore. I've ran into everyone so much that they don't talk to me anymore. It's just like real life. There are more screens than I thought. Alright, because we're going to the bottom. Nope, come on. Come up. Oh. We try. Boy, oh boy, way down here. Okay. Hollow Root and Blooming Pool. Pamela thinks that this should be the quickest route for vocations. They both will be vocations. We're out of other options now. Hey, I'll get to get my second point of bonus glory, I guess, which I don't have yet. Let's do Tizo's option because I never do. No talkie-talkie? Okie dokie. You meet up with Tizo, who suggested you go ranging with him through Blooming Pool. Tizo wants to join you for a walk. Together, you set out to explore the wind-swept fields around the Black Wagon. You find little to speak of other than the desolation typical of the downside. Tizo seems ready for a nap and wants to head back to the wagon. You and Tizo make your way back to the wagon, though uneventful, your search helps ease the burden weighing on you, and leaves you with time to pursue your vocations for the last time. You remain intent on further study of the Book of Rites. Usual dialogue, +1 glory. The book seems to push back against you. Your sense of its hidden meaning crumbles under layers of contradiction, of missing details, and yet you feel a thorough knowledge of it now. It is more artifact than book. Its power almost solely rests with the reader, who makes time to form a certain meaning from the many passages unwritten. Yet the glimpse of knowledge you approached just then calls back to you to stop and go no further, not to press too forcefully against the outer limits of your understanding. Nevertheless, for what you recognize shall have to be the final time. Inspiration comes to you in a flash, whether from the book or from within. Even now you cannot tell. Righteousness +2. Boom. Nailed it. You look up to see the lone minstrel there. You had not noticed him. He looks up at you with his strange eyes, a color not unlike the bindings of the book, and he smiles at you faintly. The moment passes, and he turns to you He turns to go about his business. He leaves you there. You realize you are clutching the Book of Rites to your chest. You manage to pull away. Speaking of which... Nope. Still no. You observe Tizo rummaging around the black wagon as though in search of something. He notices you there and rushes up to greet you. Tizo is glad that you were there. He is just reminiscing about old times. But, just as quickly, he resumes his search. Tizo is looking for something a former exile of the Nightwings once gave him. He is growing frustrated that the object he seeks is nowhere to be found. You almost do not notice the lone minstrel's approach. I'm afraid that it is gone, Tizo. I'm very sorry. Reader, it is nothing that ought to be of cause for much concern, merely that Tizo has misplaced something of sentimental value to him. It was just a spare bandage, he indicates, exactly like the one on his horn. Tizo here has had many adventures with the Nightwings. Is that not so, Tizo? He squawks in approval. These memories shall always stay with you. Is that not what matters most of all? He confirms this as well. Then please do not worry yourself about it anymore. It is a symbol of a distant past, besides. Tizo skulks away, up into the rafters. The lone minstrel watches him go. The object that he seeks does not exist, reader. Tizo searches for it from a fleeting memory of his days with the Nightwings of the past. He performed the regular duties of the Drive Imps at first, but soon distinguished himself. I was none too surprised. He was clearly special. He had grown close with the other members of the Nightwings when misfortune fell, and the Triumvirate fell apart. Perhaps Volfred has revealed to you more of the details. As for Tizo, I feel he must make peace with the shadows of his past. Somehow. Perhaps then he shall cease searching. You need not worry for him, of course. He is resilient, and shall always serve the Nightwings well. You might say that he was born for it. Begging your pardon, reader. There was only an open quote and no close quote. Huh. The lone minstrel excuses himself in a polite way, leaving you to consider what he said. Which is usually how people leave us. Oh, roster... We finally had an update on Tizo. Torvand. Born 13th of 5th moon, suggesting he is steady and collected. Let's see. I feel like I've read all that before, yeah. Nothing about the Tizo story stands out as something that I haven't been through before. Tizo is unlikely to hit max level. Faye and Pameth are maxed out. Yeah, people aren't likely to level up from the following quests or runs. I should stick with Tizo just for the sake of practice because I'm not great with Volfred necessarily.
Know something, guys? I heard a crazy story that old Bertrude, he
She finally got out of here. Back to the other side. Can you believe it? You give her my regards, okay? Because I got a lot of customers because of her, and I do mean a lot. Anyway, what can I do for you for? Bing. Oh, it's a big one. It's a +10. I think I'm just done with money forever, though. Especially since I started selling everything, thinking the game was going to be over already, frankly. Hello, giant collection of pretty gems. I like the ones that just make me score harder, though. I don't remember if I even had to buy those ones. I might have bought the one that makes me heal. Didn't see nothing you liked this time, huh? Sorry. Oh, no talking either. Can always do a quick check-in. Oopsie. Wrong one. Oh, by the way, the plan. Any updates? It's still 80. I think it only updates when you do a liberation rite. Nope. I don't want to miss it. There's got to be more. After making all the necessary preparations amid the lonesome lands of the Ridge of Gold, you and your companions await the commencement of the rites. It is quieter, even than usual, in the onset of such events. The lone minstrel appears, bearing some sort of news. Uh-oh. Is it Orlek time? I have checked, and it appears as though the Pyre hearts have not yet arrived, reader, sir. There is no sign of Sir Deluge, or anyone. Their sigil is not set either. What he says is true, then your adversary is not present, then you presume the rite cannot commence. However, the stars themselves soon indicate you are mistaken. Is it Orlek time right now? Ruh-roh.
Reader, the Commonwealth, your home. Today it is aflame. Much like a stack of books. Aflame because of you. Because of your outlandish plan. Not that you care. Not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed. Though by all means, keep trying. As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
Why would you say by all means keep trying? Wouldn't you desperately be playing for me to stop because if you actually care about the Commonwealth? If he thinks that their ruling is right, and he also cares about the Commonwealth itself, then he should be pleading with me to stop. Because I'm only causing damage and hurting people if he thinks that we're going to fail and that they're right to rule. But instead it seems that he doesn't care about the people because the Commonwealth is aflame and he's like, oh, but by all means, just tucker yourself out, toddlers. I'm like, that's okay, so just reinforcing how shit you guys are, huh? The rite is set to commence, but your adversaries, they have failed to show. Smartest choice I've seen them make. They had no chance of getting in another liberation rite, did they? Indeed. As the rites are drawing to a close, some of the triumvirates who you have met, perhaps they are beginning to decide the stars are not worth heeding any longer. These people wouldn't, though. This is the specific team that is up next for the liberation rite. So this story doesn't actually match that. Sir Deluge, you wonder whether he would give up on the rites like that. He shouldn't, because he's literally next. He's the one team that's geared up to be the next liberation rite. All he has to do is show up, basically, and he's pretty much guaranteed to get in there. He's the one team that shouldn't give up. He lacks in courage, that much is certain, though his desire to prove his competence did seem to spur him on. In any case, we have begun the ceremony here, and so I asked that we would end it.
Who shall it be this time?
What the hell does this mean? Am I gonna go face off against an empty pit? Dare I use my slow characters just so that they can get a chance to use their get a little experience? The faster blink is pretty neat. Volfred, go.
Volfred.
This is really concerning because I think what's happening here is they're making me pick my characters without telling me what the actual match is going to be against, and then they're going to like blindside me. Tizo. And good old Faye.
Faye,
Transistor?
it is done.
So, do we just put out that little flame over there? I mean, is that it? Here, Volfred, you're gonna be the sacrificial lamb in
Even
case
your
something goes wrong.
adversaries have abandoned you.
Whoa, that goes really far now.
And it is done. The Nightwings prevail by default. Not that their adversaries even care.
My only hope is that our would-be adversaries find some peace.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes.
We don't even get enlightenment, we just get green, which is not helpful. It's really over?
You may go now, at your earliest convenience.
Oh. It actually isn't happening, apparently. Is the liberation right next? Is that it? I didn't get practice. No one speaks further of the Pyre hearts back at the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the Rite that is to come. Last chance, then, is it? If any of us is going to get out of here still, it's this time or never. The stars always shine with truth. The ending of the cycle of the Rites is now upon us. He looks over to you. Please look forth, reader, sir, and see this for yourself. You may well surmise where we are going next. The others turn to you as well. You turn toward the wagon's door. You know that you shall see what you shall see now, however, the time has come to face it. The dim and fading light of the final star shell still pierces through the darkness, demanding your attention, guiding you towards the endpoint of your path. I don't know what to think about what just happened. I'm hoping that Oralek... Hey, 82%. Hey, everyone's crossed out. Crap. That's not how the rights work, though. I am hoping that Oralek somehow interfered, and that's where the story's going. Because if the Pyre Hearts gave up, that doesn't really make much sense story-wise. Like, if it was anybody else, like if I was facing off against, like, I don't know, Manly Tinderstoff or some other person that had, like, a single-digit score over here, then it'd be like, oh yeah, they gave up because they don't have a chance. That was kind of revealed by the fact that when I beat the Dissidents, they got crossed out, which has never happened except for the team that actually got liberated. And that's because they presumably don't have a team anymore and have to find a third again. But, like, the Dissidents crossed themselves out because, like, we're done now, that's it. Because they lost and got reset down to 0. But the Pyre Hearts were already in first place. So the idea that they would just give up doesn't actually make sense to me, because that's the opposite of what your reaction should be. Your reaction should be, it's do or die now, this is our one and only chance to do what we've been trying to do this whole time. So the idea they would disappear doesn't make any sense unless Oralek specifically interfered. And if they really did just give up, I question the story a little bit. There's Oralek, as expected. Hopefully that turns out to be the reason. Our record is 0-1, because I did terribly last time. And just to make him a true villain, he faces off against your team when you're down to your final remaining characters. This game has a really interesting structure, which I think I've talked about a little bit in the past, but it's worth pointing out here, is that as you continue through the game, every time you use a character and succeed with them, or even just use them a lot, they become the candidates for characters that you can remove from your party completely. That's a super interesting progression system, because that means that the more familiar with a character you are, the more they're a candidate for being removed from the game. Anyone can help with the Liberation Rite, but only your top 3 characters can be the one being liberated by the Liberation Rite. It's always that way. So as a result, really interesting, because it means that, like, you have to keep losing your favorite characters, essentially, one way or another. Or you have to force yourself to use characters that aren't your favorites constantly so that you can get rid of them next, while trying to keep your favorite characters in the party, for example. That's just a really interesting struggle to have, and it also makes it extra challenging to try to defeat what is essentially the final boss, because they face off against you when you don't have any of your favorite characters left, basically, unless you've specifically, like, held on to them all this time. So you're at your weakest in many ways. Strongest and weakest, because your experience bars are likely filling up, but you're using many of your least favored characters, the ones that can't qualify for liberation rights. Boy oh boy. 82. I was hoping it'd be higher. But still better than I thought it would be for a while. You are summoned to the Fall of Solium for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of the rites be ended for an age. You sense that if the rites shall ever commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime or that of any of your companions, even the longest-lived ones. The stars revealed to you one thing more. The adversary whom you face shall be Oralek. Already he has crossed the Scribe's Gate and awaits your arrival. If the 8 scribes created the Night Wings in their own likeness, perhaps it is only fitting that the Night Wings should, in the end, be forced to face themselves. It is a shame that we should have to confront Oralek in the end. Our goal should never have been at cross purposes. I am surprised that it is what the scribes desire. For now, it may be best that you recover until dawn. Regain your strength as best you can for the coming trial. Rest well, reader. The group disperses in exhaustion as exhaustion sets in. At dawn, you fly to Mount Elodiel to make a final effort to achieve your plan and get somebody home. But who? Here it comes.
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
By dawn, you're already up and about. After a troubled slumber, the Black Wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the Fall of Solium. No one speaks. As you lift into the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain olden ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may befit the circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I were to play the song for the Nightwings? Do it. I want to hear Darren Korb songs. A song by the lone minstrel may help lift the spirits of your companions in this vital time. He urged the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it. He begins without another word. Oh, it's the theme song. It's the really good one.
When the stars align, the rites shall come to bear. Illuminate the signs, the exiles shall be there. All are not the same, but three shall be as one. Freedom in flame, the end has just begun. Strength may break our own, but twisted make a great. Together on their own, the journey shall be made. The journey shall be made.
That's the one. I might have stalled a little too long. I was like, oh, I might get there too fast. Let's be careful. Oh, they actually took away my dash move, so I had to take long enough, actually. Clever video game designers. Faye gets favor? I mean, I'll definitely use Faye. Bertrude's gone. Oh. My enemy player eliminator is gone. She was so effective at just shotgunning everything away. Okay, Faye. He touched down amid the great heights of Mount Elodiel to make pilgrimage to the summit for one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are a part of shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. I wonder how far their conditional statements go. They say his or her freedom. If I liberated every female character of my crew, I wonder if they would have said something different there, because Orlek doesn't... Orlek's the other candidate. So the Orlek is male, and that could have been done to male characters. Just a mild curiosity. It seems incredibly unlikely that that kind of pointless attention to detail would occur. It's like too far as bothering goes. Do I go with Volfred or Tizo? I really am just so bad at Tizo. Like, so bad. But I do have an upgraded thing now. So his moving around will cost less stamina, so we can do it a little bit more, at least. That's what I should. That's the one thing I should have tried to upgrade to its maximum if I could have. I might still get the chance. Minus 60% is good, but if it gets significantly lower, then I can like dash around constantly without using stamina, and then suddenly he becomes really fast, like the enemies often are. Because I think that's what they have, is something like that. Because I feel like I always run out of stamina too fast when I'm playing as him, compared to the dashing abilities he has. I saw a glitter over there. Solar Shell, the sparkly thing in its center, is in fact its heart, which it airs out from time to time. Yeah. Airs out its heart. After having landed, you joined Faye on an expedition to the monument of Molten Millith for what is likely to be the final time. Glory to the 8 scribes, for you have chosen me to be a witness to the ending of the cycle of the rites. We have followed on your path, and in your path, and now we have arrived upon the site which the cycle first began. Always have we done our utmost to honor you, and honor the traditions you have described within the sacred book, which one day I would like to read myself. Whatever shall transpire in the coming nights, it is your will, and I shall accept it, even as I strive with all my heart for all my friends. Soon she is finished. You return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Molten Millith has shown you favor. At dawn, you shall begin your last ascent. For now, your vocations may occupy what little time you have to spare. +3 glory! A lot of glory. There's actually some scary bonuses for Faye at some point. This gives her a +8. She gets a +2 from me and a +3 from that event. So she has a... yeah. She already has a glory of 25. A glory of 25 crossed with having a +8 means that she does over 30 damage per hit. That could be devastating for my... as a bonus to have for my primary scoring character. Oh, the biggest... I just remembered one of the biggest losses of losing Bertrude is not only is she a good scorer and a very versatile character and a giant shotgun blast character and surprisingly fast with a very long range jump, but she also had those abilities that made it so that we took reduced damage when we were losing, which was really a really good safeguard for losing. In fact, I don't think I ever lost on accident ever again after I got that skill. It was always an intentional choice. Faye seems to be speaking to herself again. She's unaware of your presence, or shows no signs of it at least. Mercy! Freedom! They are intertwined. Mercy shall engender union among all our different kind. Mercy shall engender union among all our different kind. She's reciting passages from the Book of Rites, though to your knowledge she cannot read. Freedom to the worthy. The downside cannot let us all go free, thus freedom to the worthy. Is that not so, O Saint Triesta? Is that not the conclusion which you formed with your 7 most trusted friends? She paused for a while, as though listening, and nods her head from time to time. Yes, I see. Well, I am ever grateful to you, Saint Triesta, for your guidance and your presence. And I wish all your friends safe passage there among the stars. It must be so very beautiful out there. With your wings, you can fly freely, can't you, Saint? You can visit me at any time. Come and go as you please from the stars, all the way there. Do you not need a pair of wings in order to be free? You do not need a pair of wings in order to be free. I know, and yet sometimes I wish I was like you, or maybe like Miss Pamitha. But I know I am the way I am because it's meant to be that way, and I know that you are always watching, so thank you, Saint Tristatitis. Thank you, and your friends. She wanders out into the afternoon, leaving you there to consider her words. In the Commonwealth, her unwavering faith in the 8 scribes would have been seen as a delusion. Such prayer or communion was forbidden. The scribes were mythical figures, but even they worshipped the stars, and it was the stars that lighted the way for the founders of the Commonwealth, or so its leaders taught. Well, then let's send her faith to the Commonwealth. How about that? Let's see. Mentoring won't work, right? Because we didn't get experience from that last round, so nobody's going to be 1800. Yeah, everyone's super far from leveling up. But if I forage, I might get a resource I can sell, and then the stuff I sell I might be able to use to upgrade Tizo's item. You sense a sort of enlightenment here. Something Falcon Ron values here. Let's try that. It's worth 85, not bad. Not bad at all. Onwards then. Scribe's Gates. Or something else. Yay! A messenger imp traveled all the way to your location in the ancient formations of Mount Elodiel to bring you the latest news and rumors from the other side. The imp brings tidings about Bertrude in particular, and what became of her since she was liberated at the fall of Solium. You learn she shrugged off all the pomp surrounding her return, and retreated to her native home in the southern bogs. Thereafter she proved difficult for the Commonwealth to reach. Each time officials came to her with various opportunities, she would curse them and send them on their way. Finally, however, she met with certain guests of a different sort. She is now working with Volfred's sons and daughters of the Revolution, putting messages to parchment and creating pigments that they use to spread their word and cause. She leaves a message for you personally. "We shall be watching ye." Coming from her, you take it as a compliment. You thank the imp for bringing you these details as your companions gather to discuss. Now there's someone I wouldn't want to be my enemy. It was enough to have her as a friend. Tizo expresses hope that to one day visit Bertrude at her home in the southern bogs. She must know everything. I could have learned so much from her, I think. I hope we'll see her again soon. My debt to you is finally repaid, O Bertrude, my old friend. Yet, through your great wisdom, we might still achieve much more. The news of Bertrude's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with resolve. The messenger accepts a small bite to eat from you and heads off. Your companions gain +1 hope for the next rite.